Welcome to my session. This is Nupur Roy taking English classes. Now this is the chapter 7 in class 12 CBSE English book Vistas. The name of the chapter is EVANS Tries an O Level. Now this is a very long chapter, students, but it is a very interesting chapter. This is the best chapter which will keep you full of suspense. But my request here is that please follow each and every word very carefully to enjoy the chapter. So this is written by Colin Dexter. So here we start. Now the chapter as it starts, it is the dramatis personae, means the characters in the play. Who all are the characters in the play? There is the secretary of the examinations board. Second character is the governor of HM Prison, Oxford. Oxford is a place in England and the HM Prison is in Oxford. Of course, James Evans, the main protagonist of the story, is James Evans, a prisoner. Mr. Jackson, a prison officer. And Mr. Stephens, a prison officer. The Reverend S. McAleary, an invigilator. So there also comes Reverend S. McAleary, who is the invigilator. What is the meaning of Reverend? That is respected. Now S. McAleary has been picturized as a priest. So we will come to know more about the characters in the story. First, let me discuss this. Mr. Carter is there, who is the detective superintendent. Mr. Bell, who is detective chief inspector. So these are the dramatis personae, that is, these are the main characters of the story. Now all precautions have been taken to see to it that the O-level German examination arranged in the prison for Evans does not provide him any means of escape. Now we come to know in the story that James Roderick Evans, that is the full name of the prisoner, he was a very, very clever prisoner. So he wants to take up an O-level German examination. Now this was just a reason, just a way to break the jail or break the prison once more. So Evans have been breaking the prison and running away from the prison many times, and in the story we come to know his name is also Evans the Break, and he breaks the jail for already he had done it for 3 times. Now here also the precautions. He wants an O-level German examination to be arranged in the prison, and that was the way by which he again escapes from the HM Prison of Oxford or Oxford Prison. So this is on page number 70. The story is on the page number 70. It was in early March when the secretary of the examinations board received the call from Oxford Prison. So the secretary of the examination board, he got a phone call from Oxford Prison. So this is the Oxford Prison, that is, this is HM Prison, which is in Oxford, a place in England. It is a slightly unusual request, Governor, but I don't see why we should not try to help. Just the one fellow, you say. So who called? It was in early March when the secretary of the examination board received the call from Oxford Prison. Now, it's a slightly unusual request, Governor. So, this secretary of the examination board was called by whom? By the governor of the HM prison, Oxford. So, the secretary of the examination board says that it is a very slightly unusual request. It's a very uncommon request. But I don't see why we should not try to help just the one fellow, you say. So this is spoken by the secretary of the examination board. He says that though it's a very unusual request, it's a very uncommon request, but he doesn't find any problem in trying to help the prisoner. Now this unusual request was from the prisoner Evans. Now what was the unusual request, you see? That's it. Chap called Evans. So here the governor mentions that the prisoner's name is, chap means what? Boy. That the prisoner's name is Evans. Started night classes in O-level German last September. So Evans, the protagonist, he started night classes. That is, he used to attend the night classes for what study? For an O-level German. Now, O-level means the preliminary level of learning the German language. Any O-level exam means the preliminary study of something. So, preliminary O-level German. From last summer, he had started attending the night classes. Now you see, this unusual request of learning O-level German German by Evans was actually again a way to escape from the jail. Now says he is dead keen to get some sort of academic qualification. So who says? The governor is telling that Evans is dead keen, means very, very particular about it, very interested to take up this academic qualification. Now, academic qualification means something connected to studies, academics, something connected to studies. That is what he wanted. He wanted to learn the O-level German. Is he any good? So, the secretary asked that, is he any good? He was the only one in the class. Now the secretary asked, is he any good? That is he any good student of the O-level German study? And this, the governor says that he was the only one in the class. That is, there was no competition. There were no more students in the class. He was the only one in the class. So you can say he has had an individual tuition all the time. So what kind of a study he was taking from September? That is, he was taking the kind of an individual tuition for the O-level German. Would have cost him a packet if he had been outside. So it would have cost him a packet, means it would have cost him a lot of money if he had been outside and taken up the study of O-level German. Now, one thing you must know, students, that in the cell, whatever the prisoners want or they want to improve themselves, want to study, the jails, the prison superintendent and the authorities, they give them a chance. So, well, let's give him a chance, shall we? So, he should be given a chance, and then he asked that he's talking to the secretary of the examination board. That's jolly kind of you. So that is ordered, and that was a jolly, that is, he was very happy at this. What exactly the procedure now? What exactly is the, now when the apostrophe s is there, that means it is exactly is. Exactly is the procedure now. Oh, don't worry about that. I'll be sending you all the forms and stuff. What is his name, you say? EVANS. So the secretary of the examination board says not to worry, because he would be sending all the forms and the stuff, means the writing paper, the question paper, everything would come from the secretary of the examination board. And he asked the governor not to worry, and then he to make it much more natural, he says that what was his name, that is, his name was EVANS. Now students, he will be taking all the help of all his friends. They are all his accomplices. They are the accomplices. Who the German teacher was also a known fellow. They were the accomplices that helps EVANS to escape, that helps EVANS to do this break or do escape from the prison. Next, James Roderick EVANS. It sounded rather grand. That is, what is the meaning of grand? Means the name itself has got such a dignified name, James Roderick EVANS. That is, grand means something royal, very classy name. Just one thing, Governor, he's not a violent sort of fellow, is he? Now, to make it very natural, the secretary of the examination board asked that was he a violent kind sort of a person? Violent sort of a fellow means violent sort of a who? Evans was a violent sort of a fellow or what? Is he? I don't want to know his criminal record or anything like that. So to rectify everything, to find out everything, so what he is doing? He is actually asking about his criminal record. Has he got any criminal record? At this, the governor tells, just one thing, Governor. He is not a violent sort of a fellow, is he? There's no record of violence. So the governor tells that there was no record. He wasn't a very violent kind of a person in the cell. He was a very cool kind of a person. That is why he could manipulate the different steps, different barriers he crosses, and then he escapes from the jail. Quite a pleasant sort of chap. So the governor, what he reports to the examination secretary of the examination board, that he was a very pleasant sort of that Evans was a very pleasant sort of a person. They tell me, bit of a card really. So bit of card means he was a little witty also. He was not a very dull person. He was a witty person. One of the stars at the Christmas concert. So how had he been? How had Evans been? That he was one of the stars, means he was a very good showman at the Christmas concert. Concert means a program, some stage performance. Imitations, the sort of thing, Mike Yarwood stuff. That is, Evans could do a lot of imitation. He could copy, and especially he could copy Mike Yarwood stuff. That is, Mike Yarwood was a famous comedian of England. All right, he was a very famous comedian. So Evans could could copy the Mike Yarwood stuff. Yarwood. No, he's just a congenital kleptomaniac. So what the governor certifies, that he is a congenital kleptomaniac. That is, he has a, what is the meaning of congenital? Now, congenital is the congenital means which is present from birth. From birth. Okay. And kleptomaniac means a person who has habit of stealing, has a habit of stealing. It's a kind of a mental disease. So what was he? He was a very pleasant person. He could copy the Mike Yarwood, the comedian Mike Yarwood, but he was a congenital kleptomaniac. This was his crime. This was his the reason why he was always put in the jail. That is, he was a congenital kleptomaniac. That is, he had the habit of stealing, which he had. It was his from the birth. The governor was tempted to add something else, but he thought better of it. He'd look, he would look after that particular side of things himself. So the governor was tempted to add something else, but he thought that he would look that side too about Evans's this demerit or this kind of cleverness which he will do by himself. But in the whole story, we come to see the governor and all the jail authorities are fooled by the clever Evans. Evans, the governor, and the other authorities, the prison officers, and they all think themselves that they knew everything. They were very confident, but Evans gives them a great fool, makes them a great fool, and escapes from the jail. Presumably, said the secretary, you can arrange a room where. No problem, he's in a cell on his own. So he wants to give the O-level German exam. So the secretary asked that he can prove, the governor can arrange a room. No problem, he's in a cell on his own. That is, he is in the prison. Cell means a prison. If you have no objections, he can sit the exam in there. So the governor tells that he can sit in the cell room and give the exam. That's fine, and we could easily get one of the parsons from St. Mary's Maggs to invigilate if that's. So they planned that they would call a parson. Parson means what? A parson is a thief, and from where they will call? They will call the thief. They will call the parson, that is the priest, from the St. Mary's Maggs. Means it's a St. Mary's Magdalene is a church in England. To invigilate. Invigilate means when some person is there to carefully see if the student is cheating or not. To invigilate means to look very nice, to guard. So the teachers guard, invigilate when the examination goes on in the classes. If that's fine, yes. They seem to have a lot of parson there, don't they? The two men chuckled good-naturedly, and the secretary had a final thought. So the two men means the governor and the secretary thought that they would invite a parson from St. Mary's Maggs, and he would be invigilating. Now students, let me again give you the hint. Now this parson is the priest who comes from the St. Mary's Maggs. He is also again, he is kidnapped and gagged and kept in a house, whereas the friend of Evans becomes the impostor, dresses like a parson, and comes into the Oxford prison to invigilate, to help Evans escape from the cell. At least there's one thing, you should not have much trouble keeping him incommunicado. So the secretary tells, secretary of the examination board says that he should not meet someone. He should be kept incommunicado, means he should not be able to or allowed to talk with any other. Now the governor is overconfident, chuckled politely once more, and reiterated his thanks and slowly cradled the phone. So the talk over the phone was finished. The governor chuckled, means he thought that he would very well arrange everything and it would be a very nice O-level exam Evans would get, and everything would be safe and sound. But the irony is what? Evans will fool the governor, who is overconfident. So chuckle means to laugh, and reiterated means repeated. So students, I just introduced the chapter. I hope you are understanding it. If you don't understand, please ask me in the comment box, and I would be continuing with the chapter. So stay tuned, children. And if you like my teaching, please subscribe the channel. So see you soon, students.